Welcome to another episode of Case of the Week. I'm Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Katie Webster, and with me is Assistant Commonwealth's Attorney Dan Laren. And today we're going to talk about gun violence in our community. Dan, I think you had a recent case that involved gun violence.
I did. This case was a little older. It started in October of 2011. But the basic facts of this case are that it was about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A convenience store at near 3rd and MLK here in Lexington. There was a man in there cashing a check, and another man walked up to him, and they looked at each other, and they clearly recognized each other. Our security video will show that they're looking at each other. The man cashing the check turns around, walks several feet away, draws a handgun from the waistband of his pants. You see the security video. There's a red circle around the firearm. He turns back, confronts the victim, who begins to run out of the store. The victim readies a weapon and shoots the victim one time in his lower back. The victim and the defendant, the suspect at that point, I guess, both left. The police responded to the 911 call. They talked to the clerk. They collected the .22 caliber casing from the floor of the store, the check that the shooter was cashing, which had his fingerprint on it and his name, and they identified the victim at the hospital. They went out and talked to the victim, who was pretty vague about how he knew this shooter, although he did pick him out of a lineup. The police identified this shooter by the information on the check. The next day he came in, he turned himself in, and he told the police that he had been robbed by this victim a couple of weeks before their encounter at the store. He didn't go into a lot of detail. There weren't any police records of a complaint, and the general idea is that they were involved together in some sort of narcotics activity, and that's why he was in fear for his life when he was cashing his check, which incidentally was from a detention center in another county. It was his inmate account when he got out of jail for a different charge. And so he was charged with assault and tampering with physical evidence. He told the police where the weapon was. The police could never find it, and it's unclear if he just led him on a chase or somebody moved the weapon.
Were you able to proceed with the help of the victim in this case?
Well, it took us a while to find the victim. As it turns out, we do research in our cases on everybody's background when we present a case. The victim in this case has a criminal record that's as long as or longer than the shooter's. The shooter, I believe, was identified as Cedric Hatton. He's 24 years of age, I believe. He's from Detroit. He has a number of prior convictions, including a felony for fleeing and evading, although that took place after this shooting. Some fleeing, some narcotics charges, resisting arrest, things of that nature. We did locate the victim. We went out to his residence and talked to him, and the first thing he told me after I explained where the case was is that he did not want to incriminate himself. And I tried to explain to him that he was not charged with a crime in this case. He was the victim, and we wanted to bring the shooter to justice. And he made it very clear that he was not interested in proceeding with the case. He didn't remember very much. He had been treated with some painkillers at the hospital, and he wasn't sure what he said. A wide variety of excuses to not have to come to court. So that faced us with a decision to make.
So how did you resolve the case?
Well, we ended up working this case out with a guilty plea. Hatton pled guilty to assault and tampering with physical evidence. He pled to assault under extreme emotional disturbance rather than the straight assault that he was charged with. And the reason that offer was made is because, absent my victim's testimony at trial, I was stuck with the shooter's story of being scared of this guy when he saw him at the convenience store, and the jury would have come back with that, or maybe would have acquitted him anyway. So the case resolved by a guilty plea, and Mr. Hatton was sentenced to serve 3 years in the penitentiary.
So the moral of this story is that we need cooperation and help from our victims, and otherwise we can't keep criminals off the streets and behind bars where they belong.
That's absolutely correct. In this case, I had solid evidence. I had the shell casing. I had a videotape of the shooting. I had the clerk, some of the witnesses there. But if I don't have the victim who can testify about the nature of his injuries, the nature of the relationship with the shooter, and the circumstances, it's a very significant weakness in our case. And I think that's true for pretty much any case.
Well, good work anyway, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching Case of the Week. We'll see you next time.